Alright, welcome back to the SuperCoach Nuff channel. In today's video, we're going to look at the round 6 review. Um, as you can see, not the best round, 1,094, which was more or less right in the middle of all the scores for the round. Down 9,000 in ranks. And if we have a look at the team, there's probably about 3 different errors that we've made. Um, Some of them were unavoidable. I was away for the majority of the weekend, so I didn't see a lot of the footy. But one of them was, I guess, a mistake that seems quite obvious in hindsight. And one of them, I'm not quite sure what happened, to be honest. So we'll get into it. We'll discuss those as we go. So Harry Grant, 65. It wasn't enough to put the VC loop in action, but solid enough. We'll take that. Brandon Smith, so a little bit, still underwhelming. Um, we were hoping to get a little bit more out of him now that he's the starting nine. But, new team, new system, might still be just trying to work it out. So I guess the unavoidable issue was in the front row. So I was away camping for a lot of the weekend, so I was only getting bits and pieces of information. And I did get that Joey Tarpany was a late out due to the birth of his child, or expected birth. So I did manage to get Stefano in there, which meant I got a 37. But I guess by this time Kepi had already played, so he was kind of locked out anyway. And then that got compounded by Tohu Harris also being a late out. So unfortunately, I picked the two guns that were both missing this week in the front row, which is pretty frustrating, but it does happen from time to time, and we're going to try and fix that by bringing a third gun this week. um, Second row was much better though. So Fafita 76, Cam Murray 85, they're both awesome scores. Preston 34, but in a well beaten team, that's going to happen from time to time. I think he's still got a fairly low break even. Yeah, 16, so no point to stress about trading him out just yet. And he's averaging 60, so it's not the worst. Jackson Ford 75, so that's why we brought him in the team. He's now got a nice little low break even of 11. Should make some money. Someone's trying to call. What's going on there? I'll get back to you. Not here. Let's pretend. Jack Johns at 32, so he made a little bit of cash, and I guess we tried to free up some money for the trades this week, so we'll take that. And with Jaden Brayley unfortunately being out, he might see some more minutes in the middle, given Kurt Mann might have to play a bit of nine perhaps. Josh Schuster, we're still waiting for him to play his third game. And this was the other error. I was supposed to get it on Jack Johns, that reserve, but for some reason it got stuck on Schuster and I didn't pick it up until after they played. So then when Tohu was out, I couldn't get the auto emergency because I'd already used it. So that's why I had such low scores. I only had 16 playing. But I guess what saved me was Nathan Cleary, 158 as captain. That's fantastic. You know, love to see it. So now that him and Hines will be back in action, it's just working out which one of them each week will probably be the captain. Dylan Brown, 63. That's decent enough. And again, I guess the right move considering Adam Dewey now out for the season with the ACL as well. So, best of luck to both him and Jaden Brayley with the recovery. Qatar, 34. That's fine. He's just doing his thing, making some slow cash for us. And so then the centre wing. So this is where I guess the big error was made, in that we kept Paul Alamotti instead of the Hammer. Cost us about 100 points, and plus obviously the differences in cash that are going to go with that. But Marzu did all right. We did bring him in for the hammer, so 92. We can't be upset about that. Jacob Carraz, so 51. If that's his floor, we'll take that every day of the week. And then Tyrell Sloan was pretty disappointing with the 15. Nickel Clockstad was good with a 92, and I guess really, that's the actual starting team. We just played Sloan because he was a bit earlier in the week. Um, but yeah, in reality, we've got three decent keepers there. We just, that should have been the hammer. But yeah, Khan Pereira, Warbrick, both 16. So you can see our cash gen in the centre wing is dried up. We don't have too many cash out options. We might have one or two, which we'll discuss a bit further. And we've also got Taruva, 44. So I think, he's probably the fourth option at the moment, if we're being realistic. Penrith are looking good. He's going to get some tries off the back of that. Tommy Turbo had some issues with back spasm though, 26. Everyone has an off game, so that's fine. Just wish it wasn't the same week as, not having a front row and the hammer going off and stuffing up the reserve. But that's all right. In terms of trades this week, the target has been Payne Haas. And so ideally, we'd love to do it through the use of Sean Kepi, more so than Stefano. Just, I guess, with Aaron Woods making the switch to the club, I think, that's going to impact on Kepi's minutes a little bit. He's not going to make a lot more money. The only thing he does have going for him is that dual position swing. But I think talking about the Aaron Woods swap, the other end of that, Viliami Fafita, looks like he's going to try and get a spot at the Dragons or is there or thereabouts. So, in a couple of weeks' time, if that does come to fruition, we've got a bottom dollar, front row, second row, dual position player. We can cash out on a Johns or a Ford or a Preston, and then we'll have that swing. So until then, we're obviously carrying three front rowers, but with Tohu being a bit iffy, it's probably not the worst strategy. But to facilitate that, we need to find about 139k, which means, I guess, the original sort of option, which was Alamotti out for Tom Eisenhuth. No, I can't spell. It's the wrong way around. So that's going to leave us a bit short thanks to the massive dip in price there from Alamotti. So we need to try and find a different way to him. One option potentially could be if Alamotti out. So if Jarrell Skelton was able to claim that wing spot left by Addo Carr, I think it's more likely going to be Jaden Ockenbaugh. Will take the wing spot, and probably Braden Burns will find his way onto the bench as that sort of backline utility player. So I don't think that's very likely. The other option is we just have to bite the bullet a bit and go with Stefano out, and then we can afford to do the Eisenhuth. I had it there the whole time, the Eisenhuth trade, like that. So obviously, it's not ideal because Stefano's a pretty handy fourth front rower. But at the same time, we can't sort of have a heap of cash sitting on the front row bench. So, Stefano's done his job. He made us, 100k, thereabouts. Scored us some points, particularly this week when we really needed it. But I think it's time to bring the big guy in. So, if we lock in the trades like that, that's the option. The other option, actually, I just remembered I was going to look at. So we cancel all that. No, sorry, we confirm all that. the other option, if we do want to do the Kepi to Haas trade, and we've got to find 139ers, we could actually go Brandon Smith out and bring in a Sonny Luke. So yeah, I think this was actually the trade I was leaning towards after playing around with it a bit, um, because Luke's only going to benefit from Penrith's uptick in form. If I look at his stats from the weekend, like I said, I didn't see the game, but playing 53 minutes, that's what we expect. Obviously, that crazy one against Parramatta where he didn't get too much time. I think it was a head knock, wasn't it? That's why he missed last round 5. By in round 3, so I think this is more indicative of what we could potentially expect. Obviously, 2 try assists is nice. But take them away, we're still at what, 35. Yeah, one of them was a line break assist. So, he's still doing enough in the time, I think, to make us a bit of cash, and does have that attacking upside. And like I said, it gives us that nicer front row forward option there. So if we swing this around, whichever way, who's playing last? The Raiders, so that's probably right. Tarpon is a reserve now. Get Sonic Luke on there too. Nico Hines obviously has to become a reserve. And Nickel Clockstart comes into the starting team. Along with Taruva, Almody out. So, it's a pretty serviceable squad at this point. We've got a little bit of depth, hooker, front row, second row. Ideally you'd like a 5th one in there, but that's fine. We can deal with that. Halfback is stacked. We like that. We're still going to make some money for another 5'8", i.e. Cam Munster. Um, we might even, take a sneaky flyer on Matt Burton, depending on how the Origin team pans out. And then, we've got 3 sort of decent centre wings. How much money we got left over? So, obviously this would be nice if this was the hammer, but, we wouldn't then have this. So it's swings and roundabouts there a bit. And obviously, we're going to make a play, I think, for Teddy once his price bottoms out to, get back to having 2 gun fullbacks. So, the team's looking nice. We just need a few things to go away around captaincy, late outs. And, I think even though my score wasn't great, I still won my cash league head to head, which was nice. Finally getting a bit of luck in that competition. And so in terms of, we've structured the team up. I think the VCC is pretty much the way it is. It could potentially be Cam Murray as vice captain. I don't really see too many other options that I've got in my side if I want to captain Cleary. So, yeah, I guess Cam Murray's a bit more of a pot option. He could score a try against the Dolphins. The defence isn't that bad, but Cam Murray's a good player. So, yeah, Harry Grant could go good too against Manly, let's be honest. So, either or. Might just leave it at Cam Murray just for something different. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking at the moment. Obviously, if you've got other thoughts about how this team could be improved, let me know. I'd love getting some thoughts. If you got questions about your team as well, feel free to ask. I've had a couple of those and they've been really interesting to think about. But yeah, other than that, if you're enjoying the content, like the videos, subscribe to the channel. Um, get notified when the other videos come out. There'll be quite a few rapid fire this week, just given the short turnaround, including the stock market video, which I'll do tomorrow after teams, just to make sure I've got as much information for that. And other than that, thanks very much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.